We're like 6 films in, and I cried so much today. I just wanted that family to be okay.
Date of birth?
Friday, 31st of December, 1937.
The first film we watched was The Father, and honestly, this film is fucking great. What a film to start this project with. The Father is a somber, almost psychedelic look at dementia, and Anthony Hopkins is delivering a performance of a lifetime in this role.
I cried a lot, and now we get to do that 6 more times.
Well, that
film was really good, really sad, really freaky, and they utilize a lot of non-linear storytelling that really puts you in the head of this character. I think usually when films portray dementia, they do it from the perspective of the grandkids or the kids. I don't think it's typically done where the person with the mental health issue is the protagonist.
Overall, I would recommend this film. It's got this slow European style to it, which I think really heightens the drama, which is also maybe why for our next film we opted for an abrupt tone change.
We want to underscore again that we're coming to Chicago peacefully, but whether we're given permits or not, we're coming.
The Trial of the Chicago 7 is a punchy courtroom film delivered at the peppy tempo that made Sorkin famous. With so much of the film centered around protesting, it almost seems apt that it came out in 2020. However, many have argued that Sorkin took too many liberties with the history, which, to be fair, he's a TV writer and not a historian.
I'm not that versed in American history, and so this was actually a history lesson for me. I didn't know this happened.
I would say same, and I am American. I should have been taught this in school.
Wow.
I was not. There's a lot of small details that I wasn't aware about the Vietnam War. Like, I wasn't aware that they broadcast the names of the soldiers that had died every day.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
My ignorance of history aside, this film is a masterclass in witty dialogue and political drama. A small critique I have, though, is that this is a Sorkin film, meaning all the characters talk like Sorkin, and he basically uses them as mouthpieces for his political ideals. It can sometimes read as an act of hubris, especially when you're putting words into the mouth of famous activist Tom Hayden. Black Panther's Bobby Seale and Fred Hampton are featured in this film, but they're more tertiary characters. Most of the film focuses on the 7 white defendants. I was curious about the black experience at this time, which brings us to our next film.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
Judas and the Black Messiah is a nail-biting biopic about the life and death of Black Panther chairman Fred Hampton. And strangely enough, the protagonist isn't Hampton. We enter the world of the Black Panthers through Bill O'Neill, an FBI informant posing as a Panther who will ultimately betray Hampton. Even though you know historically Hampton will be assassinated, this film succeeds in keeping you on the edge of your seat, offering glimmers of hope that Judas, or in this case, Bill O'Neill, won't accept those 30 pieces of silver.
So, I cried. I guess what makes it a hard watch is that the world that the Black Panthers wanted to build hasn't happened yet. People are still getting shot in their bed. And if you find that kind of imagery traumatic to you, skip this one and come back to it a little bit later. I'd say Daniel Kaluuya absolutely is giving an Oscar performance, especially when you compare his natural accent to this amazing rendition of Fred Hampton's voice.
Hey, voiceover Ashley here. For reference, this is Daniel Kaluuya's natural voice.
Hello, everyone. Everyone all right?
And this is the voice he used for Fred Hampton.
You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
This performance is absolutely incredible. He really transformed into it, and that paired with Lakeith Stanfield as the film's Judas makes for some really riveting scenes. Honestly, the acting in this film is so top class. It's clear why this is an Oscar film. Unlike our next film.
Mink.
This is
is Herman Mankiewicz, but we're to call him Mank.
Mink is a film about old white guys who make movies, written by old white guys who make movies, and for old white guys who make movies. It will probably win Best Picture. You know, I get the impression that Fincher was jealous he didn't make Citizen Kane, so Citizen Kane fanfic was the best that he could muster. That said, this film is truly awful, and if you skip it, completely fine by me. Also, that sound design is a choice.
We're expecting great things. What is it the writer says? Tell the story you know.
Never have I ever seen a film sluttier for an Oscar.
That's a great way to describe it.
I mean, this film seriously has everything. It has screenwriters, executives, producers, alcoholism, famous people's children, an actual scene where somebody wins an Oscar. Wow. A bit desperate.
Mink was easily the worst film of the night, and the film I checked my phone during the most. I don't know why they thought making a movie about making a movie would be more interesting than actually making a movie. This film has seriously turned me off from ever watching Citizen Kane. That's right, I've never seen it, and now I almost don't want to because that's how garbage this film was. There's so much unchecked male gaze in this film, which is probably why we opted for our next film to be from the female gaze. Promising Young Woman is a feminist revenge thriller that's not afraid of dark comedy. The film follows Cassie, a woman who pretends to be drunk in order to catch date rapists. Carey Mulligan makes Cassie an iconic role, possibly more iconic than Daisy in Great Gatsby, since the money shots of this film, guys, the money shots of this film are truly iconic and will stick with you long after the movie wraps.
I think this film could easily become a cult classic. It's not afraid of being both feminine and dark.
Yeah.
And usually you don't get the mixture of those two things, but there were like pastel fingernails and floral patterns and girly dresses while still being dark and violent and haunted, which I really liked. I think usually people associate femininity with weakness, but this character's strength is her femininity, and I really enjoyed seeing that.
Hi, voiceover Ashley here. I agree with everything I just said here. This film is truly groundbreaking for female characters in film. I think in the future, a lot of films are going to try and copy this feminine yet dark style. If in 5 to 10 years you see young filmmakers riffing on rainbow nails, colorful wigs, and pink title cards, well, you'll have this film to thank. Minari is a family drama about Korean-American immigrants struggling to adapt to their new life in Arkansas. Honestly, this film is amazing. Perfection, beautiful, and honestly, it broke me.
We're like 6 films in, and I cried so much today. I just wanted that family to be okay. I mean, Jesus, that said more about the American dream than Great Gatsby ever fucking did.
Yeah, fucking.
It was just like, the American dream is hard and awful. And this poor, sweet family of immigrants.
We're trying to do the American
We're
dream.
trying to do the American dream and do their goddamn best.
I was invested in all of them. The child performances were fantastic.
Oh my god, that kid. How did they find that kid?
And
David? Holy cannoli.
this was another case where I forgot I was watching a film and just enjoyed the story.
Absolutely, those actors did not feel like they were performing. They felt like they were just living
I felt like a witness.
this situation. Yeah, the parents are so good in this film. Oh my gosh. And the kids and the grandma. They're all good. Whoever cast this, A++++++. Yeah, absolutely should be in the Best Picture category. Absolutely. If Mink fucking wins over this, I'm done. I'm done. I'm quitting acting. I'm quitting filmmaking.
Nomadland is a gripping film about a generation of people who are too poor to retire. Instead, they live in vans, camping in nature, and hopping from seasonal job to seasonal job. It's a poignant exploration of the decline of the middle class, and Frances McDormand is giving it her all as the protagonist, Fern. She is so real in this film. I look at her and I think, oh my god, I know this person. This person is real. Honestly, she reminds me a lot of my mom, which is probably why this film was so depressing for me to watch. We actually have very little footage of us after the film because I was crying so hard. We had to take a break and come back the next day to actually review it. And this is where we partially failed the 24-hour challenge. We were not supposed to fall asleep, but coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Hello. It is the next morning. I fell asleep. Mistakes were made. So I lied down. Mistake number 1. I lied down to watch some makeup YouTube. And I was just out like a light. Like, out. I fell asleep. It's like 9:30 right now. And Hayden's not next to me in bed, so I'm feeling he probably fell asleep playing video games. Look who I found sleeping on the couch!
No.
Yes.
It's too early, stop
It's
it.
too early. You
It's
fell
too-
asleep doing video games?
And I needed a moment. Why do Oscar films have to be depressing?
Also, I'm so sorry if you hear this droning sound. Someone is literally cutting down a tree next to us. We are actually in the car because there is so much construction noise on our street. It is so annoying. And we actually need to watch Sound of Metal, which is all about sound, so construction noise in the background is not going to cut it. So we're actually driving to a movie theater! I'm so excited!
The Sound of Metal follows Ruben, a heavy metal drummer and former addict who loses his hearing. During a relapse, his girlfriend puts him in contact with a sober deaf community, and that is where our story takes place. This film utilizes a lot of new microphones that let us experience Ruben's loss of hearing, and if it doesn't win Best Sound, I will leave Los Angeles tomorrow. I liked the film well enough, but upon further research, I found that it had mixed reviews from the deaf community. Some love it and some hate it. One particularly scathing review said that this film was made for the hearing gaze. It's a hard film to review because I truly know nothing about this topic, so I don't know if it was tasteful or tasteless, this exploration of the deaf community. I thought there was a really good monologue in it from the mentor figure, where he was like, in this world, we don't think deafness needs to be cured.
As you know, everybody here shares in the belief that being deaf is not a handicap, not something to fix.
And I thought that that was a really beautifully written and acted monologue from that character. I honestly want to know, if you are an Academy member and you vote on these films, how do you watch them? How much time between films do you watch them? Or are you a procrastinator and you go, oh shit, I've got to turn my ballot in and watch 7 films in 24 hours, because I bet you there's an Academy member that fucking does that and they're voting on these awards. I mean, at least we're not fucking voting on them. This was a beautiful experience. I got to spend time with my boyfriend and his phone was on silent the entire time. If only all women could be so lucky. No, but this is great. I love that we love filmmaking. And it's what brought us together.